is just fantastic.
Captain's Log, Subdate 211116.5. That's a lot of ones. Now that we've started using UK sentencing within this series, I've decided to start locking up any judge that issues an incorrect sentence. I'll then have them share cells with kiddie fiddlers. Welcome everyone to the Halls of Injustice. Today we welcome inmate number 102, Helen Williams, to the ISO cubes. Hi Helen, enjoy your time here. This subject was sent to me by Credible Threat on Twitter. I'll link Credible Threat's Twitter in the pinned comment with the sources down below, with the claim being that this sentence is a disgusting sentence, which I will admit is quite the selling point. So inmate number 102, Helen Williams, is a fraudster with a penchant for long game manipulation of the vulnerable and lonely. Which does in fact mean, yes, she is in fact that type of cretin. Her preferred arena of shitbaggery is online, more notably Craigslist, which explains a lot. Why on earth do people still use that shite site? The crimes Helen Williams committed go back to 2017, and it was only very recently that she was sentenced for them. Now, I did mention fraudster, which should be an indication of the type of crime she committed, but there are a number of issues I take with this already, and I'm going to raise it now because it will crop up later, and I firmly believe it could well lead to an appeal with a form of justification. And the issue is, it took 3+ years to get to a sentence for the crime of fraud. That is unacceptable. I've noticed within this series it's happened a few times where it's taken years to get to a conclusion, some of which were affected by coronavirus. Now I believe there's a counter to that. It's called satellite link. Things like this can in fact be done in such a way that it protects all individuals involved and ensures the perp is given a fair trial at the right time, without having a rather irritating mitigating factor being potentially used as a way of dampening or lessening the sentence that they receive, should they be found guilty of a crime. So to now provide some context, we're going to go back to 2017. It should be noted all crimes committed by Helen Williams happened during the year of 2017 only. In 2017, Roger Willis, a man with a terminal cancer diagnosis who is also autistic, saw an ad on Craigslist that promised a return of £5 million on an investment. Now, of course, that wasn't a guarantee. Terms and conditions apply. How much you invest will then entitle you to a cut of that possible, potential, fictitious return of £5 million. Roger Willis's investment initially was £75. And I want to insert this now. This kind of advert is Nigerian prince territory. Now, upon realizing that Helen Williams had hit the jackpot, she decided to go get herself a nice big stick to poke her newly acquired piñata. Now, this part involves a number of scenarios. These scenarios were how Helen managed to acquire additional funds from Roger Willis. So on the first occasion, Helen told Roger that she was in trouble with her landlord. Naturally, rent needed to be paid, so the investments would be secured, so Roger Willis assisted. On another occasion, she told Roger Willis that she was being threatened by a local gang and only his money could keep them at bay. And arguably the more ludicrous of the three, she had been taken hostage, beaten, and dumped in the woods. So either she required money to get home, or she needed money to pay off those that took her hostage in the first place, so they didn't do it again. In all instances, Roger Willis paid up because he desperately wanted his investment to yield a positive return, and felt that by assisting, he would in fact be shoring up his finances. Over the year of 2017, Helen Williams, inmate 102, managed to obtain, but not just from Roger Willis, over £30,000 £3,000. Wow, that's a lot of people that believe in Nigerian princes. Now, of course, I should insert this now. Anyone who fell for the scam is not to blame. Helen Williams had a talent for finding those who were, let's say, vulnerable, and that vulnerability was exploited. It is why she managed to guilt people into giving her so much money. And as much as you would not want to like it, you've got to admit, this kind of hustle takes a level of skill. Eventually, Helen Williams started making phone calls to Roger Willis, using him even further to get more money out of him. And this is where he was somewhat saved by Roger Willis's wife, who had at the time been pushed further and further away by Roger Willis because of what he was going through at the time because of Helen Williams. So the police were called and Helen Williams was arrested. During an investigation, they had discovered that she had tricked her cousin, because yes, even family are not safe, into making 27 payments, totaling £3,670 after claiming she had serious financial problems. Which she wasn't lying, it's called excess, or a poor person with money. So, no money because it was all spent on everything but what was needed. But then since this was a con, a scam, so fraud, it was always going to go on excess. Oh, and just for some mathematics, the average payment of those 27 is £139.26. That is a lot of money to get out of someone else. She had also conned a friend of her mother to the tune of £220. She also begged an old work colleague of her mother for money, and that guy gave her £500. This is a lot of money, and she apparently had a real knack for using guilt to get what she wanted. Now this is where all the delays come in, because yes, she was arrested and charged with 4 counts of fraud, but she was not found guilty and sentenced until 2021, which is a long time for justice to be served. An unacceptably long time. You had all the information. This was even recognized by the judge during the trial, and no doubt an inquiry will in fact take place. This is an unacceptable length of time to investigate and prosecute Helen Williams, with the judge also conceding, though, imprisonment is unavoidable. Why? Because Roger Willis was an easy target. Roger Willis has since passed, so much of the information and evidence obtained came from statements he gave during the arrest, and of course an impact statement from his wife, along with family members. Now, many of the family members now actually talk to her, which would include her mother, who got a restraining order against her initially because of the abuse of those around her mother, because Helen Williams in that time has changed, and that as a mitigating factor can be used in the appeal, which it undoubtedly will because it took so long to get to a verdict. With Helen Williams being found guilty, we come to a very belated sentence. And the sentence is that Helen Williams, inmate 102, will spend 2 years, 9 months in prison. So essentially, she will be out in around 16.5 months, which under UK sentencing guidelines, for one charge of fraud, is where the prison sentence resides. So because I'm a dickhead, we're going to multiply it by 4 for each charge of fraud. So Helen Williams will be spending 11 years here in the ISO cubes. Enjoy your time in your cell. Now, as we are done here, I'd very much like to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. If you do like the fact that I've started introducing UK law to this, do let me know, and I'll make it a point to add more additional information. For example, for this video, I'm going to be linking the Fraud Act of 2006 in the pinned comment with all additional sources for this video. I do hope you all have a fantastic day, and thank you all very much for listening.